Hold up. Wait a minute. I wish you love, peace, and hair grease.
Love, peace, and hair grease, y'all.
Yeah, you know I wanna shoot straight from the hip.
This is Carla Renata, aka the Curvy Critic, and I shoot straight from the hip.
Yeah, you know I wanna shoot straight from the hip.
Hello, everybody. Hi. It's your girl, Carla Renata, aka the Curvy Film Critic, and welcome to another episode of the Curvy Critic with Carla Renata. And guess who I am? I'm Carla Renata. Insti-hoo, what we do here is I do reviews of films and I interview people above and below the line in the film industry. If this is your first time seeing my face, give me a big thumbs up to let me know you were here. Click that bell for notifications if you are on YouTube. And if you are on Facebook Live or the Twitter, send me a message because I will see it and I will answer back. So having said that, I usually start off the show talking about what I did last week and then I get right on into my things for the week. So, what I want to talk about first and foremost is that theme song that you just heard is written by this lovely young man right here. His name is Bobby Day, and he and I have been friends for decades. He, in addition to being, I'm not sure if he's covering Harold Ziegler or if he's actually playing the role of Harold Ziegler on Broadway in Moulin Rouge. But this is him in his Harold Ziegler garb, and he is on Broadway right now playing Harold Ziegler in Moulin Rouge, but he's also a wonderfully gifted composer, and he composed that theme song that you heard at the beginning of the show for me. We have been friends for decades, and I just wanted to give him his props because I don't believe I ever said who wrote my theme song, and it was my dear friend Bobby Day. That was us the opening night of the Book of Mormon, because he was also in that. Child, his list of Broadway credits goes from here until the end of the earth. Also, the AFCA TV Awards announced their winners, and Abbott Elementary and Ozark took the top awards, meaning that Miss Quinta Brunson is the belle of the ball this award season, and I'm there for every little bit of it. Also, what happened this week is this is a dear friend of mine from St. Louis, Missouri. You might recognize that face. Her name is Jennifer Lewis, and she received her star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame this past week, on Friday, I believe. She is the 2,726th star to receive a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. And I just love this picture of her because it just encapsulates all of the emotion that goes along with that moment for her. Standing next to her is Debbie Allen, who is one of her special guests. And on the other side of her is Mark Shaman, one of the composers for Hairspray, among many other Broadway musicals. And all three of them are really, really good friends. But I just wanted to say, congratulations, Mama Jen. I love you. And what a wonderful, wonderful honor. You're doing St. Louis proud. I think I talked about this last week, but I went to an event for Where the Crawdads Sing, and When the Crawdads Sing dropped on July 15th, but I wanted to show these pictures in case I didn't from Where the Crawdads Sing at this event that I went to. So there's me by the poster, and then here's my little painting. Honey, I know I'm not an artiste, not that kind of artiste anyway. But that is like the picture on the bottom is what it's supposed to look like. I came pretty close. My flowers actually came closer than anything else. And then I did a little interview with Gugu Mbatha-Raw for an Apple TV Plus limited series. It's like a psychological thriller series that's coming on Apple TV Plus called Surface, and you will be able to find that interview at the Cherry Picks online, Cherry Picks, and I interviewed Gugu and Mbatha-Raw for them. And when I finished out my week, I had to close it out. What? Going to see Kinky Boots with my girl Angelique Jackson, who is a senior reporter at Variety, and we were there to see Kinky Boots. We had pretty good seats too, so I was all about that. So having said that, let's get on with the show, shall we? Now, I saw a little movie called The Sea Beast, and it was on Netflix. It's an animated joint, and it is directed by, let me find his name, Chris Williams, who also worked at Disney on a movie called Big Hero 6 and Moana. So he's got some chops. This was for Netflix, and it deals with a young girl who stows away on a ship of a legendary sea monster hunter, turning his life upside down as they venture into uncharted waters. The voices are done by, the voice of Maisie, the little young Black girl that you see in that photo, is done by Zaris Angel Hator, whose parents are actually killed by monsters. Marianne Jean-Baptiste, an Oscar nominee, is doing the voice of Sarah Sharp, and Jim Carter from Downton Abbey is voicing the king. So let me tell you a couple of things about Miss Sea Beast, honey. It felt like an animated, updated tale of Moby Dick, is what it felt like to me. The pacing was really, really painfully slow until Maisie showed up. And the minute Maisie showed up, everything picked up. Everything picked up. Everything picked up. I kind of loved that everything picked up when she showed up onto the scene. And, not for nothing, but we usually don't see little Black girls animated in these types of period piece animated projects. So I was really happy to see that. And the biggest thing to take away from this is that maybe you can be a hero and still be wrong, because apparently Maisie's parents killed a monster and this monster saved Maisie. So she's thinking, well, if they killed the monster and the monsters are actually nice, just because they were heroes doesn't necessarily mean they're right. And that's a really good message for kids to learn. There's a lot of women in charge. Loved that. The rendering of the water sequences is absolutely brilliantly done. It's so beautiful to watch. The animation, the way the animation is done for this is gorgeously done. And Chris Williams must have learned a thing or two over at Disney, but because the animation in this is simply stunningly gorgeous. And it was giving me How to Train Your Dragon vibes. But it is streaming on Netflix right now. What else did I want to talk about? I wanted to talk about, before I start talking about anything else, let me say hello to Brandon. Brandon, how you doing, boo? So Brandon told me he had a great weekend. He saw Paws of Fury and really liked it and can't wait for Super Pets on the 29th. Now, Brandon, I'm going to give you a full disclosure. Some things happened in my life, and due to unmitigated circumstances, I wasn't able to screen Nope. I did get invited. I was not able to screen Nope. I did get invited to DC Super Pets. I don't think I'm going to be able to screen that. We'll see. And I was invited to screen Paws of Fury, but due to unmitigated circumstances, here in my household, I was not able to attend either of those screenings, but I'm hoping that what's happening here gets alleviated sooner than later, and I will be able to move on with with my little brown life, dealing with my little reviews and whatnot. All right, so we talked a little bit about. I also wanted to tell you with the Crawdads saying, Daisy Edgar Jones, who's the star of that movie, is crushing it. And I actually was like, I kept looking the whole time I was looking at the movie, and I was like, why does this girl look familiar to me? And I realized she looks familiar to me because she also stars in Fresh, which opposite Sebastian Stan, which was a crazy ass movie. I think it's on Prime Video, but it was crazy as hell. But it was really, really good. It's either on Prime Video or Hulu. I'll find out and tell you by the end of the show. But she's in that and she's really good. But if you want to catch When the Crawdads Sing, it's in pictures. It's in theaters right now. It's produced by Sony Pictures and it's directed by Olivia Newman. Now, let me talk a little bit about, and thank you, Brandon, for coming in. Love you, mean it. I love when he comes and he gives me little updates. I kind of love him for that. It really makes me, it warms my heart. It warms my heart very much. All right, let's talk about this film called Alone Together. Alone Together is directed and starring Katie Holmes. And it also stars Derek Luke. So this is what this film is about. It's dealing with the pressure and frustration that comes along with being in a relationship during COVID, but yet feeling completely alone. So what happens is these two strangers wind up double booked in the same upstate New York rental during the start of COVID-19, and due to extenuating circumstances, the lockdown forces them both to stay and confront the unexpected feelings that develop between them. This is what I feel is the most important thing that I got from this particular movie right here. The most important thing I got from this movie right here is the fact that, COVID-19 was hard on everybody. And for those who were by themselves, it must have been excruciatingly painful. But this is a situation where it shows how much what COVID did for everybody is it showed us how important the importance of human interaction, touch, and compassion means for all human beings. I remember the first time I came out of COVID-19 and went to an event and someone hugged me. I don't know what endorphins went off when I got that hug, but apparently I needed a hug. And I was quarantined with my mom, and me and my mommy hug all the time, but it's different when your friends hug you, than your mommy. Like, you expect your mommy to hug you. And it was weird because we didn't know whether to hug, whether to do this, whether to fist bump, like we didn't know what to do. But this film really delves into that. I love Katie's choices of music for this film. They were all over the place. But I love this really tender moment where she sings Blue Moon to her grandfather who has dementia. It made me shed a little bit of a tear. Yeah, so what I will say about this film is that it is a directorial effort from Katie Holmes. Y'all know her from Dawson's Creek and Being Married to Tom Cruise and a plethora of other things, but she's not that bad of a director. The pacing, you're going to hear me say this a lot today, the pacing was just a little slow. But I enjoyed the film. I just wish the pacing in the whole thematic situation of the film had just paced it up a little bit. But what I also loved is that it paired her back up with Derek Luke, who was in Pieces of April with her, that was directed by Peter Hedges. It's one of my favorite films. So I loved seeing that. So this one, Alone Together, comes out on, I think it might already be out. I'll get back to that. I'll get back to you on that one. It may already be out or it may be coming out. I think it's already out. I'll check back. So the next one I want to talk to you. So that's Alone Together, directed and starring Miss Katie Holmes. Now, I also want to talk about this other film, which I love, love, love. These two filmmakers, I love them. Julie Cohen and Betsy West are my favorite documentarians because they always address documentaries that put a spotlight on some woman and women's rights. Love them, love them, love them for that. And this time they are not backing down, just like Gabby Giffords, Won't Back Down, which is the name of this documentary that they are directing. Now, you may remember Gabby Giffords. She was like the star of the Democratic Party at the time. And she was at, I think it was a grocery store. She had gone to do an in-person appearance at a grocery store and was shot by a young man named Jared Lee Loughner, who was mentally ill. He was kicked out of school, but he was obsessed for some reason with Gabby Giffords. And this film, she was just about to run for Congress, and she ran for Congress because she wanted to end partisan bickering. She was a regular citizen just like everybody else, and she wanted to end partisan bickering. She got tired of the same partisan bickering that's going on right now as we speak, and she thought, maybe if I run for office, I can change that. What I want to tell you about this is that she, when John McCain died, her husband, Mark Kelly, who was a former astronaut, not only, I think she occupies the seat that John McCain had. And then when she was unable to continue to pursue that seat, her husband, Mark Kelly, the astronaut, decided to go into it for her, and he won. And so he's now in Congress as a congressman. I think that's the most beautiful story ever. But what I really think is beautiful is that marriage is a commitment, and there are many photos showing the stages and the challenges and the happy times with Mark and Gabby during this ordeal. And that shooter, he may have shot off part of her skull, but he did not shatter her spirit. And that is the biggest lesson that you need to know about Gabby Giffords. Won't Back Down. It is a documentary. It is out right now. All right. So we talked about Sea Beast. We talked about Gabby Giffords. We talked about what else did we talk about? Oh, we talked about Alone Together, and now we're gonna talk about Persuasion. Now, y'all know I love me some period pieces, and for the last 3 weeks, I've been talking about period pieces, and I noticed that y'all ain't too keen on them period pieces like I am, but I don't care. I love them anyway. But this one is called Persuasion. It's streaming on Netflix right now, and it stars Dakota Fanning. Oh dear. You know, I love me some Dakota Fanning, and I love my period pieces, but y'all, this is directed by Carrie Cracknell. It's based on a Jane Austen novel by the same name. So I love my period pieces. I love Dakota. I love support my female filmmakers. And I love Jane Austen. I love my period pieces. But I'm just going to tell you what it's about before I get into the but. So the but, no, let me tell you what it's about. So when Frederick Wentworth, who they consider to be the one that got away, crashes back into Anne Elliot's life, she has to choose between putting her past behind her or listening to her heart when it comes to second chances. And that is the most important theme that you will get from Persuasion, is the idea that a second chance at love, or needing to wait until it's the right time to be someone you love, is preposterous. If you love somebody, just go for it. And that's all I'm going to say about Persuasion, because again, I told y'all I was going to be saying this a lot today. It's a little bit of a slow burn. It's a little bit of a slow burn. Most of these films that I saw this week are a little bit of a slow burn. And that's to be expected when July hits, because by the time July comes, the big blockbuster movies are released in January. No, the big blockbuster movies are released in June. From January, well, from like, I don't know, October until March, we dealing with Oscar titles. And then once August hits, then we start to ramp up for award season again with TIFF and with the Venice Film Festival and with Telluride and Sundance. So July and a little bit of August always tends to be a little bit of a slow burn when it comes to movie time. But you know, a sister be trying to hang in there. A sister be trying to hang in there and look at them. You know, I love me some movies. Love me some movies, but these movies of all the movies that I saw this week, the one that I probably would recommend the strongest would be the documentary Gabby Giffords Won't Back Down, is the one I probably would recommend the strongest, just because of what it stands for. But I got one more to talk about, and that's Anything's Possible with my friend, I call him Billy Portier, but Billy Porter. But I love to call him Billy Portier just because I think it's hella funny. All right. So before we get to Anything's Possible, I want to see if you recognize this quote right here. When did you fall in love with hip hop? Do you know where that's from? Do you? I don't think you do. If you do, hit me in the chat and let me know, or send me a message and let me know. But in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and break it off and let you know where it's from. We're going to do a little curvy classic, and it's going back 20 years to Brown Sugar. Brown Sugar starred Sanaa Lathan, Taye Diggs, Nicole Ari Parker, Boris Kojo, um, what's the boy's name? Most Def, who's now known as Yasin, and Queen Latifah. Baby, this film right here was everything when she came out. I love this movie so, so much. It's so much fun. Now, this is the plot. Well, let me just tell you a little bit about it. Let me come back on camera and tell you a little bit about it so that y'all ain't like, floundering in the background. All right, so let me just tell you what Brown Sugar's about. Now, this is the plot. So the plot is Dre, who's played by Taye Diggs, and Sydney, who's played by Sanaa Lathan. They attribute their friendship and the launch of their careers to a single childhood moment, the day that they discovered hip hop on a New York street corner. And 15 years later, she ends up being a revered music critic. He ends up working at she ends up being a revered music critic who leaves her LA Times review gig to edit New York's hip hop magazine Double XL while he's a successful, unfulfilled New York music executive. You would think they'd be perfect for each other, right? But then Dre is about to get married. Aha! Dre is about to get married, and Sydney begins to be wooed by this basketball player. And of course, y'all know how things end up in a rom-com. It's directed by Rick Fumiyama, who I think this is one of his first big gigs. So let me tell you a little bit of trivia about it. So Roger Ebert gave this, excuse me, I'm about to sneeze. Excuse me. Roger Ebert, when this came out 20 years ago in October 2002, gave the movie 3 stars, and he said Brown Sugar, advertised as a hip hop comedy, is more like a slice of Black professional life. There's not even an entire hip hop song in the whole movie. Directed and written by Rick Fumiyawa, excuse me. The movie returns to a world similar to his In the Wood. If you've ever seen that movie, that's also one of his. But the characters are deeper and more complex. This movie is mostly known for a soundtrack song called Love of My Life, You Are My Friend by Common and Erykah Badu. So there's that. And then Queen Latifah and now at the time he was known as Most Def. Now he's known as Yasin. And he left the business, changed his name. I don't know what happened to my brother, but something drastic must have happened for him to him to change his name and leave the business altogether. I used to love his cuts, but oh well, another one bites the dust. And then here is Boris Kojo and Miss Sanaa. So let me give y'all a little bit of insight about Miss Brown Sugar. Let me come back on camera and tell you about that. Give me a second. All right. So what you don't know about Brown, whenever I do these curvy critics, I always like to give you a little insight into what was going down. So Lorenz Tate, who was in Love Jones, was actually approached to play Dre, the part that's played by Taye Diggs. I found that very interesting because they're very similar in vibe. Idris Elba auditioned to play the part of Kelby, which is the part that ultimately went to Boris Kojo. And my friend Tox Olagondier, not Don, Tox Olagondoye, she gonna kill me when she sees it. I butcher her name. She gonna call me up and let me have it 5,000 times. But Tox's debut, and you guys know Tox, she's been on The Rookie. She's been on The Neighbors, not The Neighborhood, but The Neighbors. She's been on a plethora of TV shows, and I think she's doing some animated work and voiceover work right now. But this was her feature film debut. Nicole Ari Parker and Boris Kojo, I'm not sure if they were married in real life when this movie came out, but they're married in real life now. And Sanaa and Boris were actually booed up and paired up in another movie, Love and Basketball, where he played her date to the prom in Love and Basketball. And in this one, Brown Sugar, he played a basketball player that wanted to date her. So my favorite thing about Brown Sugar is the performances, the direction. Roger Ebert was exactly right when he said it was a slice of Black professional life. It was something that we had not seen on film very often, and it was done spectacularly well. But baby, the funniest part of that movie is there was this group that they called themselves the Hip Hop Dalmatians, and they kept coming to the record label with different incarnations of that trying to get a record deal. It was like a running gag throughout the whole movie. It was so funny. But if you have not seen Brown Sugar, or if you're interested in seeing it because I said so, you can see it. It's streaming now on Disney Plus because Disney acquired Touchstone Pictures, which was part of the Disney family at the time that this film came out. So that is my little ode to Brown Sugar. Now let's get on into Mr. Billy Portier's movie, Anything's Possible. Now, Anything's Possible is gonna hit on Prime Video on August. I'll keep wanting to say this is August, and it's still July. On July 22nd. This is Billy's directorial debut on television, I believe. Has he directed a film yet? I don't think he's directed a film yet. But anyway, this is his directorial debut. Really, really proud of him. And it's dealing with, so there's this, it's a really sweet and delightful rom-com. It's a Gen Z rom-com coming of age story that follows Kelsa, this really super confident trans girl who she finds some obstacles, in school just by being trans, but she also finds an obstacle here that she likes this dude, but she doesn't know how her being trans is going to play into their relationship. And Kyle, who's played by Abubakar Ali, he doesn't seem to have an issue with it, but he's more concerned with how the world is going to perceive their relationship. It's super, super sweet. It's wonderfully acted. Miss Eva is giving you face and hair and fit outs all day long. I wish it had been a little bit messier, the way it's messy in real life, just a teeny tiny bit, not to the point where it was going to be traumatizing anybody, but just a little bit messier, because right now it's giving me that really sweet, like John Hughes 16 Candles vibe. But guess what? There's nothing wrong with that. And this is why. Representation matters. So it's great that we're seeing a trans rom-com with high schoolers. We've never seen that before. And if we have seen it, it was a hot mess. So I think that Billy Porter is going to be pleasantly surprised with the reaction to his film, Anything's Possible. Again, it's going to be on Prime Video on July 22nd. And having said that, let me tell you about these two right here. Look at them. Don't they look cute? I did an interview with Abubakar, Eva, and Billy Porter, and honey, Billy he showed up and he showed out. But I love this picture of him directing Eva, and I don't know what he's saying, but he seems very serious with his little director headsets on and whatnot. But having said all of that, baby, here we go. Here is my interview with Eva Raine, Abubakar Ali, and the Emmy, Tony, Grammy-winning directorial debut doing Billy Porter.
I know y'all giving her 4, but she's my friend. She gets 5. Come on.
Copy that.
Come on, Carla. We did Broadway together, honey.
Yes, we did, Billy Portier. You know that we did. Yes, darling, we did that. We did all that. Hi, everybody. How y'all doing?
Good.
Good. It's good to see you, Billy.
Good to see you too.
Everyone else, Miss Eva and Miss. Why did I say Miss? I meant Mr. You know what I meant. But anyway, moving on. Kelsa had tremendous style in this film, right? Tremendous. Very, very chic. I want to know from each one of y'all, were y'all that chic in high school? Because I know I wasn't. I was a hot buttered mess. I will start with Eva.
I won't lie. I was definitely turning looks. I was, I went to high school in a suburb of St. Louis in southern. Yeah.
What? I'm from St. Louis.
Oh, where? Okay, I'm from.
You got 5 minutes, girl. You
Okay.
better-
I know. Okay, go ahead. Go answer your question.
Yeah.
He's like, I got you an extra minute. Don't blow it.
Yeah. So, growing up, I lived in Lafayette Square, East St. Louis. And then for high school, I went to a place that shall not be named. But it was, it was in southern Illinois. Everyone wore like camo every day. And me, I was going to thrift stores. I went to Urban Outfitters. I went anywhere I could. And yeah, for a good like 4 months, I wore a different outfit every day.
Abubakar, how about you, baby?
I'm gonna tell you something. I have never been that chic. I am currently not that chic, and I will never be that chic because, unfortunately, what I am learning though is I'm learning how to dress myself as an adult now, which I'm very proud of. Because to be like growing up, my family immigrated here, so I grew up with like Macy's chic. My mom shopped at Macy's. That was kind of like what we did. And now I'm like, as I'm coming into like more privilege and more just like knowledge as an adult, I am learning to dress myself a little bit. I am learning to like be presentable in public, and I'm very proud of myself.
Look at you. I love the confidence.
Thank you.
Billy Portier, come on. Let me know how you was in high school.
There's documentation. Yes. I was always turning it out. Yes. I went through different phases, but yes, always.
I got 2 minutes left. And in those 2 minutes, I want y'all to tell me what was the craziest thing you did in high school to get the attention of somebody that you were crushing on hard. I'll start with Abubakar first this time.
I unfortunately have a very tragic high school experience in the sense of like any feelings I had to anyone, I don't think once were voiced. So my thing was like just always keeping it inside, always hiding it. There was a girl I had a crush on who I literally made her like her name was like my password on my laptop. That is like how deeply simping I was.
Wow.
And to this day, I don't think she ever knew that I had feelings for her.
Aww.
Yeah, very tragic.
Eva.
I feel like I snuck out once to hang out with a guy, so that wasn't so great. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I've done that too.
Rebel.
Next.
Yeah.
And I spent a lot of time trying to be straight and having crushes on girls and really going for it, only to have them tell me you're gay, bitch. And I was like, okay, I am, but like, I'm trying not to be. And I would like to try that with you. No, they told me no every time. So, isn't that funny?
I cannot. Oh my God. I want y'all to know as I wrap that I love the movie. I love the LGBTQ representation in this. And I'm hoping that one day when we see these types of stories, it will be the norm and not the exception. So thank you. Thank you for the extra minute, Billy.
You're
and
welcome.
have a wonderful day.
Bye, you too.
Now you see what, if me and Billy had been by ourselves, what our conversations are like. It's him acting a complete and utter fool and me laughing my freaking head off. But again, y'all, check out Anything's Possible. It hits Amazon Prime Video on July 22nd. So let's just run through everything that I've talked about today. We talked about Brown Sugar, which is streaming on Disney Plus, is celebrating 20 years. So do them a favor and give them some 20-year love. Persuasion is streaming on Netflix. So is The Sea Beast streaming on Netflix, Alone Together. And you can catch the Katie Holmes directed film. And you can catch Gabby Giffords' Won't Back Down. Those are the films that we talked about, as well as Where the Crawdads Sing. I love me some Where the Crawdads Sing. So I think I'm going to take off for the next 2 weeks, because the next 2 weeks, film-wise, are going to be super, super slow. And so I'm going to take off. I'm going to take a little vacation. A friend of mine gave me a spa vacation. So I'm going to go spa. And I'm going to chill out for a minute and attend the National Association of Black Journalists Convention in Vegas. And that is going to be it. So I think, let me see, when will I return? If I'm going to go and spa and whatnot. So I'll probably come back somewhere around August 1st. So I'll come back and see y'all on, well, no, No, I won't come back on August 1st. I lied because the convention is that week. I'll be back on August 8th. I will be back on August 8th. So remember, the Curvy Critic with Carla Renata will not be here next week or the week after. I will be back on August 8th, but I will be reviewing films. I will put them up at thecurvyfilmcritic.com. You can always catch the written reviews there. Give me a big thumbs up to let me know that you were here. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Brandon, for always popping through and giving a sister some love. Sorry I couldn't come through on those animated joints for you, but you know, like I said, there were unmitigating circumstances in my household that prevented me from attending those screenings. So I could not do that. And, you know, I will catch the next one that's coming up. So until the next time, y'all, love, peace, and hair grease. Wash them hands. That Rona is trying to come back for us, y'all. Don't let that Rona come back for us. Do not let her come back for us. We let her have us for 3 years. We don't need another year of being shut down and locked down and shut in and all that. So I'm going to need y'all to wash your hands. I'm going to need you to wear a mask and act like y'all got some damn sense. Okay? Anyway, love, peace, and hair grease. Until the next time, I'll see y'all back on August 8th. And deuces.
Hold up. Wait a minute.